今日どんな調子は？
高いですね。今日18キロは。
投げて頑張るぞ、やっつけるぞ。
There was a dynasty, like the Yankee organization. Players came and went, but the name itself lived on.
They were the Davids against Goliath. Nobody thought they had a chance.
Well, I think the Asahis were really special. They were the little ones that could outrun them, out-hit them.
They were heroes, great heroes, because in this limited world in which we were growing up, these people were showing, no matter what the society around us said, they're showing that they can be just as good as, if not better.
People often talk about baseball as if it was something sacred, a metaphor for life. Maybe that's a bit overblown, but the truth is, a lot can happen within those 4 straight lines. Just a few blocks east of downtown Vancouver was the area called Little Tokyo. In the 1920s, this was home to most of British Columbia's 20,000 Japanese. They had come to seek their fortunes at the turn of the century, but no one expected them to stay. Industrious intruders was one of the more polite names they were called. And when Japanese fishermen got too industrious, the government revoked 1/3 of their fishing licenses. Still, they remained optimistic. And besides, they had baseball.
I'm not saying that the Japanese people are baseball crazy, but a certain way they're crazy, all right. As long as they see a baseball, they're happy.
If Americans hadn't invented baseball, the Japanese would have. The teamwork on the field is a perfect expression of wa, the concept of group strength, central to Japanese philosophy. At the same time, the duel between the batter and the pitcher resembles the solo encounter between 2 samurai swordsmen. Baseball was a perfect cultural fit.
Wherever you went in the Japanese community, you could see baseball. Little kids playing baseball with tennis balls, okay, so they don't get hurt, okay? Sponge balls after that, which bounce a heck of a lot more, and then working their way into hardball.
Fathers tossed the ball with their sons. Grandmothers memorized major league box scores, and mothers laid down the law on Sundays.
My mother's rule went like this. She told the minister, they have to come to church every Sunday. It's a regular thing, okay? But if there is a Sunday morning ball game on, and the leagues they're playing in, this is not pickup of the, formal league, well, I'm sorry. They're going to have to skip church.
When Frank wasn't playing baseball, he was watching it. To be specific, he was watching his cherished Asahi team. Frank never missed a game, and he wasn't alone.
Our kindergarten was on the right field side of the Powell grounds. We could see out of our kindergarten window. All the stores are starting to close because everybody was going to the games.
I used to come home from Japanese school around 5:30, and I'd see my father out by the right field with his lunch pail under his arm and watching baseball. I'd sit there and enjoy watching him because he seemed so happy. He laughed so much when he was watching the baseball, and at home, I guess I didn't hear it very much because, life was hard. Life was hard.
At first, the infatuation with baseball stayed inside the community. Japanese teams only played other Japanese teams. The Asahi had been the brainchild of a Powell Street dry cleaner named Harry Miyazaki. His dream was to create a team to take on the hard-hitting sluggers of Anglo-Vancouver. Harry wanted to win the Terminal League Championship, something no Japanese team had even tried.
He wanted to prove that they were equal to the Caucasians. I don't know if anybody else believed they could do it, because here the opposition is so huge. They were the Davids against Goliath. Nobody thought they had a chance.
To have even dared to do that must have been something. They must have had to believe in themselves. They were saying, look, we're just as good as you are, and we're going to prove it.
Harry Miyazaki began recruiting the best players from the Japanese community. He started them young. Miki Maekawa with his best friend Ken Kutsukake were just 8 years old when Mr. Miyazaki chose them to be groomed for the Asahi team.
It was a thrill to, get the uniform Asahi.
You didn't go to bed with it, eh?
Not really, I don't think.
See, I think I went to bed with it for about a week.
The boys would go on to become legendary players. In baseball terms, they were battery mates. Mickey, a pitcher. Ken, a catcher.
Pitchers shine all the time, They win the game, they're a star. Catcher, they don't get any hand. Only time, gotta throw them out at second base. If they steal on me, I used to get so frustrated.
Back then, they'd see each other every morning at the baseball diamond. 7 o'clock sharp, no excuses.
We ate, slept, and dreamed baseball.
But it would take more than practice. In the first season, hostile fans forced the boys off the field. Even when they were allowed to play, it was soon obvious that they were no match for their bigger and stronger opponents. They'd have to come up with a whole new ball game.
You have to when you haven't got the build. Because it doesn't matter how short you are, you must have a certain amount up here, equivalent to a tall fella.
What the team came up with was brain ball, a game of strategy. Brain ball depended on speed and skill, and the boys played it like chess masters.
As far as the defense, they were the best ball players around. You couldn't hit a ball through the infield past them. They were just like cats onto it.
Al Stringbean Moser, the 6'2" starting pitcher for the downtown Patricias, played against the Asahi at the Powell Street grounds.
But the only thing they couldn't do, not totally, but they couldn't hit worth a lick.
They made up for their lack of hitting power by relying on the bunt, a technique they practiced with martial intensity.
You take a person like Mr. Ito. He was a third baseman. He could bunt with a chopstick wherever he wants to.
They could bunt like a fella shooting snooker. They dropped the ball, first base, and if they did bunt, they were fast as heck. Where it'd take me a week to get to first base, they're down there in a few seconds.
Bring your
Oh, yeah.
2 chopsticks.
Yeah, okay.
Here. Make a
Right.
diamond.
Well, that's home plate here, right? Okay, home here. Okay, here's home plate.
Everybody
First
be
base,
glad you're
second
home.
base, third base. Okay, that's the way you want it.
Okay.
Okay.
You sure.
Might as well put the pitcher's box in there.
Pitcher throws to the catcher, right? He's the batter, he's going to bunt. And the bunt, maybe you go here, right? Before he goes here, he's running. And this guy's running. And they both score.
You have a squeeze play all the time.
They were thieves. They won a game 3-1 and never had one hit. It was all bunts, steals, and the opposition trying to throw them out and making errors. So they won 3-1 without a hit. Only thing hard about pitching to them is you had about half the size of a strike zone. Somebody pitching to me, they got about 3 or 4 feet. One of those guys, you had nothing. And then on top of it, they'd crouch down quite a bit, make it even worse.
Nagi Nishihara was a star pitcher for the Asahi team.
I was the tallest one in the whole bunch. Because I was only about 5'10". And most of them was about 5'3", 5'4", you know. But I like to see the tall guy come to bat. You can fix him up pretty good. Yeah. The taller you get, you see, you got more weak spot.
In 1926, the Asahis fought their way to the Terminal League playoffs and won. It was their first big victory. That same year, Vancouver fans turned around and voted the Asahi the most popular team in the city.
White people started to cheer for the Asahi team. That's how good they got. So it was something to see and listen to when you're in the grandstand too. It was something to notice.
It was a period when, you know, if you were Asian, and especially on the West Coast, people just thought you were almost subhuman. We didn't have the vote. There were places you couldn't go. I wondered for years why it was that all my memories of theaters are looking down, and it's because we had to go upstairs. So, I mean, in that kind of a world, to be accepted as an equal, that meant a great deal.
Wearing the Asahi uniform became the dream of every Japanese-Canadian boy. One player's father would patiently clean his son's baseball shoes before every game.
They gave us a sense of pride, I guess, more than anything else. You know. They were our idols. They were our team, regardless of where you lived on the coast. They were fighting for us, fighting for all Japanese, despite all the hardships that were imposed on us. They showed us they could fight. They showed us they could overcome anything.
Throughout the 1930s, the Asahis were unstoppable. Top of the Terminal League in 1930, 32, and 33. Triple League champions after that. And in 1937, they won the Pacific Northwest Championship. And won it again and again, 5 years in a row.